Welcome to Raiders on the Record, the podcast featuring Hastings High School athletics. I'm Athletic Director Trent Hansen. My colleague Tim Hanneberg and I work together to bring you the stories of Raider sports. We are thrilled to share conversations with the athletes, coaches, and alumni that represent Raider Nation. Check back weekly and be sure to share this podcast with your friends in the Raiders Network.
Autumn Adricula is a senior at Hastings High School. During her time at Hastings, she has competed in cross country and track and field. In cross country, she is a 3-year varsity letter winner, captain, and was all-conference honorable mention during her junior year. In track and field, she is a 4-year varsity letter winner, focusing mainly on the 800-meter race. Autumn plans to attend NDSU and major in radiology. All right, here we are with Autumn Adricula. Autumn, let's start from the beginning. Let's hear about your family. Let's hear about you growing up. So what's that look like for you? Mom, dad, siblings? Have you always lived in Hastings, or did you guys eventually move to Hastings? Let's hear all about your life growing up.
I've lived in Hastings my whole life in the same house. I live with my mom, my dad. I have an older brother, an older sister, and then a younger brother.
Right on. And did your brothers, obviously your brothers and sisters, all go to Hastings High School as well?
Yes.
Okay. Your older brother, where does he go to school, and your older sister?
My older brother graduated from UMD last year, so he's working in some laboratory for chemical engineering. And then my sister is currently studying at Iowa State.
Right on. And your younger brother, what grade is he in right now?
He's in 6th grade.
6th grade. All right, sweet. The next thing we always like to hear is about the schools that we attended here in Hastings. So you can skip preschool if you want, but let's start in kindergarten. Let's hear about each school, elementary, middle, and high school. And then I really like hearing about the teachers. You don't have to pick a ton of teachers, but anyone that really had a big impact on you. We send these all out to the whole district. So they kind of, those teachers really like hearing their names pop up and knowing they had a positive impact. So let's hear about the schools you attended growing up. And like I said, any of those teachers that had a really big impact on your life.
Okay. I went to John F. Kennedy for elementary school, and then Hastings Middle School, and now Hastings High School. And a teacher that I can think of that had a big impact on me is Miss Eichmann. Miss Eichmann, I had her in 7th grade for language arts, and she was always in a positive mood. Even we were little 7th graders always screwing around, and she was always happy and I don't know, I never forgot her. She was just always in a good mood.
Right on. And what about the Kennedy days? I was there with you for a little bit. So anyone that really stuck out at Kennedy? It was a great place.
Definitely Miss Sandcamp in 1st grade. I still talk to her because her husband is my track coach. So I'm still in touch with her. And she had my sister, so we're close with her. I see her in public and she recognizes me, even from my little 1st grade face. She still recognizes me, knows my name. And my family's just close with her.
And then what about the last 4 years at the high school? Anyone really kind of stuck out at the high school? Any teachers?
Probably Corkish, because I've had him for Spark, and he always has a speech to give, but it means a lot. A lot of the students don't take it as seriously as I do, but he's always speaking about how you should act on a daily basis, how affect your future, just the way you treat other people. And yeah, I always take it seriously, and it means a lot to me.
Right on. So Autumn, this is a sports podcast, so we do a lot with sports here. So let's hear about your life growing up with sports. What sports did you play growing up? I always like to stop right around 7th grade. That's when I feel like people get more serious about sports and people get brought up to the JV level, maybe at a younger age, start playing at the high school level when they're ending their middle school career. So like I said, let's hear about those sports you played growing up. And if you could stop at 7th grade, right towards the end of middle school, that'd be great.
Yeah. So during elementary school, I did soccer. I don't really remember a lot of it. It was just HFC soccer. I just followed my sister's footsteps. And then I remember in gym class in 4th grade, I got a fast mile time. So my mom was like, maybe you should do cross country. So in 5th grade, I signed up for cross country, and I really liked running. So I signed up for track in the spring, and I did that every year in middle school, and I quit soccer for that.
Gotcha. So we get to the middle school. What sports did you continue to play? Did you kind of cut anything out? And then, like I said, let's start in 7th grade and let's go by year, starting in the fall, winter, then the spring. Let's hear about the sports you played. And I really like to hear about any accomplishments, personal or team accomplishments that went along with each year.
Okay. In 7th grade, I did cut cross country for 1 year to try to do soccer again, and I didn't like it, so I did track in the spring of 7th grade. And then 8th grade, I went back to cross country, and I was starting to get a little bit speedier. I started getting better times, so I did track again. And then high school came, and I wasn't sure if I should do cross country because I heard it's a lot more miles. Like the races, 3 miles is a big switch from 1 mile races. So I wasn't sure to do it, but I talked to D-Wall and like the other coaches like Sandcamp, and they told me just to try it out. I can always quit if I wanted. So I did cross country freshman year, and I was the slower on the team. I started on JV because I didn't know how to race at all. Like I was new. I didn't even know what spikes were. So yeah, I started off at JV freshman year, and then track came, and I feel like I'm better at track. I did do varsity freshman year, and I learned to run the 800. That's like my main event. Sophomore year, I did cross country, and I was starting to get faster. I learned how to run the courses, how to pace myself. So I was on varsity for that. And then track sophomore year, that's when COVID hit. So we didn't even have a season at all. Yeah, nothing for sophomore year for track. And then junior year for cross country was definitely my peak for sports. I got my fastest time that year. I think I got all conference or honorable mention for that year for cross country. And then track, I started off really fast, good times. And then I got injured. I hurt my ankle and I was out for a couple of weeks. And then I also had a concussion. So junior year for track was not the best for me. And then senior year for cross country, it was more just like I just wanted to have fun. I wasn't really serious about the times because I knew I wasn't going to run in college. So I was just kind of in it for like fun. I didn't really care about how fast I was. And then track this year, same thing. It's like just for fun. I'm not really as serious about my times as last year.
Right on. What about that ankle injury? That I know those setbacks in life really hit us sometimes, and we see them as failures, and sometimes people just give up when they have it. But anything kind of major happen from that ankle injury? Anything, we can look at it as a setback or a failure, or we can learn from it and grow from it. So anything that really happened during that ankle injury, that junior year of track and field that really kind of propelled you forward at all?
Definitely after I got injured for my ankle injury, I couldn't run at all for the rest of the season. And ever since then, my ankle has been way more sensitive. Like I hurt it again this year, and I couldn't run for a couple of weeks because I sprained it again on the same ankle. And I've noticed that my times I haven't gotten like a PR since that, like a personal record since then. And yeah, I've noticed my times haven't been up there as much, but I think they could be up there, but it's just my senior year and I just want to have fun and I'm not that serious about it. But yeah, there's definitely been a difference in my time since the ankle injury.
Okay. So you're a senior right now, Autumn, looking forward, but walk us through the college plans and where you're going and what you think your major is going to be.
So I'm planning to attend North Dakota State University for radiology. I'm planning to become like a radiologist technician just because I wanted to go into nursing, but my mom's in nursing. She doesn't think I'd like it just because all the stuff they have to go through. And I heard radiology is a lot less of a workload. So, and it sounded interesting. I like anatomy and stuff like that.
Cool. So our athletic director, Trent Hansen, he always likes to ask coaches why we coach. And we have to say it constantly and talk to other people and explain why we coach. So we always like turning that back on our student athletes that we bring on here and asking them why they play sports. So you're a cross country runner, you run track and field as well. Why are you so attracted to sports and why do you play sports?
Definitely because of the close connections I have and built with my teammates, especially for cross country. Like a lot of people assume or like ask me, why do cross country? Like running's like terrible. It's like their punishment. And it's just tiring, which it is, but they don't like see how close the team gets with each other and just the friendships that are made. Because these people are like they're like not my friends inside of school. Like they're my friends outside of school. I have a separation. And like I feel like everyone needs that. Like just different friends from different sides. I don't know.
Mhm. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. So you've been running cross country for 4 years at the high school. You only got 3 seasons of track. Looking back on your career, what do you think one of the best or one of the most rewarding experiences has been being a Raider athlete?
Um the best reward is like achieving a personal record in a meet, even if just by like a little bit, just by a second. I think that like every second that you cut off from your original time just shows that you're improving and that your hard work and practices are paying off and you're like doing something right.
Right on. Another question that Mr. Hansen always likes to ask us is about our definition of success and how do we define success? So turning that back on you, Autumn, how would you define success when it pertains to sports?
Success to me is not getting first place or being the best of the best. To me, it's like just knowing that I gave it my all, and like just the feeling of after a race of having no energy left and like feeling tiring is like the most painful feeling, but like I think it's the best personally, just because I know that I tried my best and gave everything I got in the race.
Right on. So you're kind of lucky. You played two different sports at the high school, but you've been kind of coached by the same people for multiple sports here at the high school. So you can pick a couple of those guys or anyone else that you were coached by your whole life. So who do you think one of the best coaches is that you've played for? And I shouldn't say play, run for, if you want to call it that. So who
Mhm.
do you think one of those best coaches is? And I always like to define this in many ways. It could be someone that really taught you something, coach that was always there for you, someone that's always been by your side for a long period of time. So who do you think that best coach is in your life?
Um, Dewall, and it's not just because he's always been my coach. I actually think that he's been the best coach. He's coached me throughout all of high school, so he knows me personally, and he just knows what I'm capable of and what I need to work on. Like when I had an ankle injury, I wanted to run, obviously, but he knew that if I ran, it would just injure my ankle even more. And I wouldn't listen to that. Like I was mad at him for not letting me run, but now looking back, like I know that if I ran, I would have gotten way more injured. And he knows how to calm my nerves because I tend to get nervous a lot before meets. So I go to him to talk about it and he just calms them and he like teaches me how to become confident in myself and like how to run the race well.
Nice. We've had multiple people on here that have been coached by DOL. So if you want to share one, let's hear a really good DOL story. So this could be something that you're always going to think about DOL, maybe a story that he always tells that makes you laugh. So do you got anything for us on that front here, Autumn? A good DOL story?
He always talks about how he has a pet raccoon and how he feeds it pizza. And I did not believe him until he showed me a picture of a raccoon literally on his patio and he had a frozen pizza in his hand. And it was eating it from his hand. And I was just mind blown. Like, what?
Nice. Well, that's a good one. Yeah, I haven't heard that one before. I hear all about the ducks and the geese or whatever he has growing. Or what's that story that he has like some pet ducks or geese or something in his yard or
He
something along
has
those
like
lines?
turkeys. He has
Turkeys.
everything.
Okay. All right. Oh man. All right. Kind of same question then for you, but now the people that you've been running alongside for the last 4 years. So who do you think someone is, one of those great teammates is that you've been side by side with, running with? And I define this in multiple different ways again. This could be someone, an older runner that you always looked up to throughout your career that you always try to kind of emulate. This could be someone that kind of challenged you throughout your 4 years at Hastings High School. It could be someone that you turn to when you needed help and they're that kind of shoulder to cry on. So who do you think that best teammate is in your life?
Carly Kardowski, who's a freshman, but we pulled her up while she was in middle school. We pulled her up to run for cross country and track at the high school. And even though she's a freshman, I think I'm the closest with her like on the team. Our friendship this year has definitely like grown and she's very optimistic and that's what you need in these type of sports because it's hard to have a positive mindset when it comes to this sport just because it's so hard. And she just knows how to be there for you when you're feeling nervous or queasy about a race or like you feel like you did bad. She always tells you can always try harder next time or like convinces you that you didn't do as bad as you think you did. And yeah, she's just someone you need for this sport.
Sweet. Next question is a little bit different probably for you running cross country and being in track and field. I always like to hear about an opponent that we play that really brings out the best in you or an opponent that you always look forward to playing, that you kind of circle on your calendar every year and you always look forward to that event? But now kind of maybe on you run across country and track and field. It could be an opponent or it could be an event, maybe a big tournament that you ladies go to every year, or something you always look forward to every single season. So like I said, for you, who might be an opponent that you always look forward to running against, or an event that you always look forward to going to every single year?
Um, I would say like not necessarily opponent, but like a meet that I look forward to every year is conference, just because the people I'm running against are so fast, and that's where I get my PR because I want to stay with them. Even though it's like, even if I get last, I'd probably still get a PR just because they're so fast. And even though the races are really hard, just because they're ahead of me by so much, it's definitely the best meet just because I push myself the most.
Right on. So Adam, you were talking about kind of making that huge progress throughout high school. Ankle injury kind of really set you back. Talk about your improvement process. What went into that improvement process? I know you talked about being in Spark. I'm sure you probably did Raiders Express or some other lifting program in the off
Yep.
season. So what did your improvement process look like the last 4 years of high school, and how did you try to continually improve from one year to the next year?
Like you said, I did Spark and I did Raiders Express. But just like going to practices and giving effort isn't like the only factor in improving. Also like diet and getting enough sleep, and then balancing school and sports especially. Like you're not gonna run a fast time if you're overloaded with stress and you didn't sleep well the night before. So I always have it planned like according to my school schedule and the meet schedule, when to do schoolwork like the week before, and so I can get a good night of rest the night before, and I eat a good dinner the night before, lots of carbs so I can have energy, and I pack a lunch the day of the meet. And just also like to improve again, like on the off season, always be working out. Like Raiders Express was great for me because it helped improve my ability to run, and it just kept me in shape. So definitely like don't just count on the season to improve. Like you got to be working on the off season too.
For sure. I think you might be the first person that's ever talked about diet and sleep as an improvement process. So that's something we always harp on the wrestling team. So where did that come from? Is that something you've always tried to live by? Is that something your parents really instilled in you? Is that something you kind of learned along the way? Or how did you come to knowing how important those two things are for you?
Definitely learned along the way because I was not a healthy eater like my
Mhm.
freshman year. I just ate junk food all the time, and I was wondering why I wasn't getting the best times. I talked to my mom about it. I was like, how do I become a faster runner? And she was like, she just started packing my lunches for me, making these spinach wraps. And that's like always been my go-to lunch the day of. I always have a spinach wrap. Ever since then, I talked to her. And then same with sleep. It depends on the night. Some nights I don't get the best of sleep, and I can just tell my performance is bad just because I'm tired and I'm low on sleep. So that's definitely important. And yeah, I learned throughout my years about
Right
that.
on. Last couple of questions in for you, Autumn. Now think about you're talking to parents or coaches. So people that are coaching right now or parents who have student athletes just like you. If you could look back on the last 4 years of your high school career and give those two groups two pieces of advice, what do you think they would be and why?
Um, to always support, like no matter what the results of the races are, like not every race is going to be a win. Every athlete has bad days. It's just bound to happen. And just having a good support system is crucial for athletes, for their confidence, which will affect their performance as well in the future.
Right on. Now kind of turn into those runners that you're running with or student athletes from other sports too. You talked about mentoring a young freshman on the team, and now thinking about those younger student athletes that are going to be coming through Hastings High School. If you could give those student athletes two pieces of advice, what do you think they would be and why?
To definitely not be so focused on your times, as it's still like an important factor and like what you want to achieve is a faster time. Just don't beat yourself up about it. I feel like high school goes by really fast and you just want to enjoy your time as an athlete, as a high school athlete. Just enjoy the environment you're in, the atmosphere that you have with your teammates and coaches and like your parents and supporters. So yeah, just have fun with it, but still try to do your best.
For sure. Autumn, that's all the questions I got for you. Last thing we always do is just turn the microphone over to our person that we're interviewing. Let them get any shout outs out, Anything else that I forgot to ask it, you can go for it. Anything else that you want to get off your chest, go for it. So last thing, like I said, the microphone is yours, and you can go for it.
I just like to shout out and give thanks to like my teammates, my parents, D-Wall and Sand Camp just for supporting me for these last 4 years in these sports. I won't be running in the future, so I definitely had an amazing experience along these sports, even though they're not the easiest, and I wouldn't change anything about it.
Right on. Thanks, Autumn.
Yep.